This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tom, I'm sure you heard some of that coming in this morning as it is opening day. Your Atlanta Braves are playing, as other 29 teams in the MLB are. What is your favorite baseball movie as we welcome you in this morning?
Hi, guys. I don't know if I have a favorite, but Tommy, you were thinking of Tom Berenger, who was the catcher. And then Mr. 3000, I think that was a Bernie Mac movie.
Okay.
It's clearly not in the discussion for best baseball movies.
Probably not. Major League was funny for sure. I don't know. I've liked it. I don't know if I have one that really super stands out. The Natural, I'm not sure if I've seen The Natural start to finish, and that could be blasphemy for a guy who likes baseball as much as I do. But I would put Major League up there just in terms of how kind of funny it was. That was a good one.
Tom, I've got some friends that live in Washington, D.C. that are going to the Nationals and Braves game later on today, which, again, they're opening up in Nationals ballpark. Well, Braves are 2.5-point favorites. They've got a loaded lineup. I know they spent a lot of money this year. What do you think about your team's chances heading into this season?
Well, we won the division. We overcame the Mets in historic fashion. But lo and behold, the Phillies, the wild card team, I don't know what happened. We just stopped scoring runs against them. So I wouldn't put us as a favorite. I think the Mets are the ones who spent all the money. But I do like the makings of our rotation. And so Robert Stewart from, the U of A kid who's in sports, young man, me against him today.
Little battle, yeah.
That's right, yeah. And, they won their World Series in 2019, and then we won ours in 21. It was a long time coming. But 2.5 runs is a lot for a game. So I don't know what's going to happen today. But the Braves are a good franchise right now. I mean, we had the penalty of couldn't sign any international players for a while, and our farm system got depleted, and we're still winning. So I just trust that Alex, our GM, Anthopoulos, is going to, and when your rotation is Max Fried, and a little concerned about Charlie Morton, but the depth of our rotation is good. So I have a good feeling we'll be in contention.
All right, it ought to be a fun day. I know a lot of people excited about the beginning of a long Major League Baseball season. All right, let's talk about some spring football because, practice? We got 9 practices, I guess, now left. I can do the math right. We're moving closer to the April 15th open spring practice for everyone. Cam Ball with an ankle injury. A few things happened on Tuesday since we visited last. Tom, catch us up with some injuries and what you've seen at practice in the times we gotten to watch.
Right. Yeah. So at the pro day yesterday, and there was a ton of scouts, by the way, and Sam Pittman came up and he chatted with the media for a while, and that was nice to see. He talked about how he at Pitt State when he got injured, or it might have been high school. He didn't specify which one it was, I don't think, but when he got injured, they had to replace seven dudes had to replace him. It was like kicker, punter, it was everything. And he was just being funny. So, he told us about Cam Ball, and, of course, Cam came to the pro day, and he was on crutches. So that was tough to see. But I think at the time when he got injured on Tuesday, there was a great concern that they had lost a standout defensive tackle with, maybe a broken ankle or something, like they lost Torian Carter on the spring showcase last year in the Walker Indoor. And so they thankfully avoided that. But, man, they've got to be healthy at defensive tackle. I know they're going to try to get in the portal, but when you think about their depth at that position, you got Ball and you got Carter, you got Eric Gregory, who hopefully, he's feeling better from his knee. And then you're at Marcus Miller, who hasn't played a ton of snaps, but he's been here a while. It's time for him to show. And then there's some others, J.J. Hollingsworth is inside, and there's some others, but I think they're going to have to hit the portal, and they feel like if they can get a contributor at defensive tackle, that's going to help their depth.
We was talking earlier with Richard Davenport. We was talking yesterday about the portal, and it opens up April 15th, which is their last practice. I guess the coaching staff will be ready to make some decisions and some some moves and figure out who they want to invite. I mean, the timing, I think, is very interesting, and coaches will basically, put down the practice whistle and pick up the cell phone.
Absolutely the case, and Sam Pittman just did not want to have the crossfire going of trying to do portal and then trying to, still be in practice and do what you do, grade practice film and all that, and have meetings while that was going on. And there are some SEC schools and others across the country, of course, who have their spring games the week after, the 22nd. And you're going to be caught up in a full week of that crossfire, which is going to be, hard to manage. Those coaches, their schedules already are so difficult so compact, so many things you have to do in a given day that's Sam Pittman did not want to have to mess with that. So kudos to him. They got into 5 practices before spring break. They're going 3-3-4 now, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and then they'll add the Friday, probably a walkthrough the week of the spring showcase, and then they can hit that portal. And there's some positions, linebacker. They need some safeties. They could probably use 2 safeties, D-tackle, and then just some other spots as well. I mean, maybe even another receiver. But I don't know. They're looking good. I love their running back crew. I was telling somebody at practice the other day, if the depth that they had at running back was the same at the other positions on the team, they would really be a contender. But you're going up against teams like Bama and A&M and LSU that their recruiting budgets and their NIL opportunities are, fanatical. And but I think they feel like they're going to have a decent squad. They got a veteran at quarterback and a lot of veteran skill talent. So they have the makings if they can strategically add to the roster through the portal of being a solid team.
Do you like the running backs, but do you like how do you like the kind of the retooling of the offensive line? Well, a couple guys that were in pro day yesterday have to be replaced up front. Got to find you some tackles. I mean, your running game will probably only go as far as your offensive line will allow to go.
Yeah, I mean, so Limmer at center. They want to get another guy who they can specifically say is going to be a center because they don't want to have to use Patrick Kudus. They feel like Kudus is going to be one of their top 5 linemen, and they'd rather have another center that they can rely on and let Kudus be a guard. And so, it is the makings of a decent line in the veterans, Limmer and Latham. And then, Marion Harris came in and did a good job in the bowl game after Tykeus Crawford went down. And so they're doing some experimentation. Devin Manuel, does he have a chance to be a tackle? Andrew Chamblee, can he move up into the starting 5? And you're gonna see the bigger recruits that Sam Pittman and this coaching staff have brought aboard that are going to start filtering in on this offensive line. He inherited that line stayed together. You're talking about Wagner, Stromberg, Latham, and Limmer, and then Luke Jones added into that. That line had been together since Pittman came back here. So some of their recruits from the last few years are going to start coming in. They just want to. And Joshua Braun, the Florida transfer, has a really good chance at being one of the guards as well.
Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush. Tom, how's Jacoby Criswell looking in the limited time you've gotten a chance to watch him?
Well, I mean, he's got a live arm. Obviously, he's a good dual threat kid. And right now, it's basically a competition between he, Cade Fortin, and Singleton as to who's going to be the backup. And of course, when spring opened, that person's Fortin, who's been on the campus longer, not in the system longer, but on campus longer. They all threw yesterday at Pro Day, and he'll have a chance. And I think that was probably his thought, was that, okay, I'll be behind KJ. If something happens, maybe I can, be the guy. And then when KJ's gone after this year, he'll be in strong competition to win the starting position.
Tom, Sam Pittman's been really, really open how he likes Luke Haas, and I'm going to have some difficulty saying that from time to time this season. But a true freshman, I think your highest-rated recruit, him and Jalen Braxton, kid out of Frisco. What have you seen from him thus far, and what have you noticed about Coach Pittman being openly honest about his play in practice in the offseason?
Yeah, they were just so ecstatic to get the twins, and he spoke early on about how he called the mother and say, your kids have just an unbelievable work ethic. And so you've seen really good hands, and I guess this is in some of the team periods we haven't been in, but Sam Pittman was saying he gets open often and he's catching everything. But he did state on the last Zoom we had with him that for him to be an attached tight end, he's going to have to add weight. I mean, you can tell he's not as big as your, like, for instance, Nathan Bax. They like Ty Washington, too, so they're going to have some depth at tight end. But Haas, good hands, good route runner, ferocious competitor, but he's going to have to add some weight to be an inline blocking type tight end. And, who knows? He's probably going to catch some passes while he's here, a good number. And Bax, he's a heavier, more physical dude, so they're going to be using tight ends a good bit in this Dan Enos system. And if your depth includes Bax and then Washington and then Haas and then, you got Shamar Easter coming in, you're starting to stack it up a little bit.
Yeah. 5 new coaches, 2 new coordinators. What have you observed that's maybe a little different about practice, just in the spring versus what you saw in the fall? Different energy, different. What's your observations just with half the staff being new out there?
Right. Yeah, it is different. I mean, you're seeing different quarterback drills. We were right by the quarterbacks yesterday or Tuesday. Jimmy Smith, I love the way he coaches. It's a positive, encouraging thing. Like when someone does something good, he's got a funny delivery. I like him. And from the defensive guys, interesting communication style. Travis Williams the new D coordinator, his voice doesn't project. It doesn't bellow. Like if he yells at something, it's not like everyone on the field can hear him. And Marcus Woodson, I noted, sometimes if a guy makes a mistake, he doesn't blast him out in front of everybody. After the rep, he'll kind of pull that guy over and say, hey, man, when you're doing this, you got to turn your hips and do this. Here's where your eyes need to be. And so I get a good vibe. And the thing was, I heard from people in the industry, these are players' coaches, and I'm talking about Williams and Woodson. And then you see it on the field, and you understand how the players come to love their coach in the way they handle them, the way they make corrections and stuff. And so I've just seen, uplifting, and I've heard them get on to some guys too, but that's all part of it. And I don't know. I think there's a quiet confidence that they're going to be a better defensive team because the numbers just were not pretty last year.
Yeah.
And the sacrifice they made, and we're going to pressure the quarterback more, and you're going to wind up with a school record number of sacks versus they're going to hit some big plays on us. That was the sacrifice they made. Yeah, the sacks were up, but the yardage allowed and the points were high. And if you go back and think, if Cincinnati or South Carolina had been able to connect on some of the deep balls, I remember at 4 or 5 deep balls in those 2 games that if they had been made could have been different types of games. So anyway, I just feel like they're going to have the cornerback personnel that's going to allow them to be more flexible in how they pressure, and the cornerbacks will be in good position to defend in one-on-one situation.
Ought to be a lot of fun. You mentioned Jimmy Smith. Him and Scott Fountain, the only 2 coaches that remain from the original Sam Pittman staff in this 4th year.
Absolutely the case. And Jimmy Smith's recruiting prowess is well documented. Woodson right now is ranked as one of the top recruiters in the country. They've got massive talent. I think 3 of the top 4 prospects in the country coming on the campus. And so their name is out there, their brand. I think the opportunity that you can be in the 2 deep pretty quick at Arkansas is appealing. And I don't know. It feels like they have their momentum going in the right direction.
Tom, we'll leave it there, man. Appreciate you joining us. We'll talk more about spring football next Tuesday, okay?
I like the sound of it. See y'all.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your college basketball betting this season. Get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. You'll find the latest odds, bracket contests, team matchups, and game trends at BetOnline. Updated odds for everything from live games right through the Final Four and the championship game. BetOnline is where your college basketball headquarters are this season. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts.